It could not start off more perfectly scripted. It is a battle between Alpha's Fabrizio Fisichella and Volvo's Anthony Ingram, but their teammates are playing a major second fiddle role, out qualifying them for the start of race one. Renault, on the other hand, it's now capitulation time. They are as jet lagged as we are. They are not qualifying well at all, and therefore their defence, or at least trying to claim the manufacturer's championship from Alpha for another season, that is definitely not on the cards unless they find some magic elixir. But that would be levels of cheating beyond which the World Super Touring Championship would no doubt penalise them for. And yes, using the words like elixir and being jet lagged, we are making the effort. We are in Japan. We were in amongst the crowd, who understandably not so much disappointed, but I would say the words loyal. One of which, in broken English, said, "The fight isn't over yet." Um, by that, I think they mean we're going to watch them fight as hard as they can, not to be last. I think that would perhaps echo their sentiment, Swinny. Michael's with it alongside me.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's the Japanese fans are always an absolute delight to go and talk to and interact with. And yeah, this is going to be a very interesting race one, given who is on the front row and who is on the second row here.
Some privateers surprising us as well. Moreno, Hartley, and the Zhou Sheng Chaser Motorsports built Crown Athlete. You could see it just popping into background there, bright red, as the 5 bright red lights are about to disappear for the first time this weekend. Sorry, second time with the Japanese were doing their supports. Away go the Alphas then. Whitman, Fisichella ahead of Ekstrom's first pole in a long time. Liam Hartley also running danger ops for any Volvo defence, or Volvo attack rather. Moreno still in 5th, and Ingram down to 6th. It is a 9-point gap between Fisichella and Ingram then, in which case Fisichella has to win not only this race, but both of them, with Ingram finishing second or worse, for that to be of great news for both himself and Italy, and of course for Alpha. Here are not only some poor French Renaults, but also a poor starting and poor qualifying French Alpha driver. Dumas there down the inside of both of them, and it says it all, doesn't it? They are plumb last exit of the traditional hairpin as we head to the F1 section, the new F1 section, including the full chicane, the full Grand Prix layout. The Japanese Championship would have took the shortcut early doors this season. Some excitement in there as well, which we can't really go into great detail on, but you'll see that on the showcase link in the bio. Moreno still fantastically placed in 5th. Ingram now up to 4th.
Yeah, that was a characteristic front-wheel drive start for the two Volvos, but they've recovered quite well here. It is very unfortunate to see the two Renaults last. We've seen them work their way through traffic in previous races, but the entire field is going to be, I think, too big of an ask for them to do. However, we'll focus on what's up the front here. Alpha Alpha, Volvo Volvo, running in formation flying here, as well as some Fords doing rather well.
In tandem, Moreno, Salo, Palou down the inside goes Salo. Moreno's lowly. They've done very well this season. 6th, very acceptable for privateer standards, but Cobra Motorsports, Ford Focus have pretty much snapped the elastic on how well a privateer team can do, outshining DHL of all people. That's going to be a fantastic outlook for the next season. As for Jason Thompson then, his final outing this weekend in a World Super Touring car. some of the Super Touring Classic cars for next season for him. Webber behind Zhou Sheng down to 11th after qualifying 10th. Kobayashi keeping Tamiya proud. The Japanese Tamiya team doing a lot prouder though. There still is a string there running through the Grand Prix chicane.
Yeah, so Catherine Hill, who's been racing the singular Team Tamiya Civic in the Japanese series, has pretty much wrapped up the privateer title. They've come out the gate swinging with just a single car team, and that is the car that Kobayashi will be driving next year. So he'll still be racing, he'll still be with the team, just not in this championship, unfortunately. We wish him all the best in going for regional national honours rather than international honours.
That could boost his morale, some better finishing places outside of the Worlds. Whitman and Fisichella then 1-2, quite literally. Whitman 1, Fisichella 2. It is we worked that out here. It is an 8-point gap. Oh dear.
It's
the
tightening.
9-point deficit will be down to 1 if this stays as it is. And given the form book, some of these last couple of race ones have ended like this. This could be very spicy for the second race, especially the reverse grid. But Ekstrom,
He's keeping them honest. He could provide to be a bit of an upset here. The Volvo is good in a straight line, and obviously Fuji is known for having a very, very long start-finish straight, so he might be able to make something of it here.
Good over a single lap, and if the power's there, it's just about getting this damn thing ahead of the two things there.
Bit of a tail wiggle from Fisichella going into the hairpin there. Let's hope that's not indicative of any ill-handling gremlins showing their faces into this race. They've still got 11 laps to go.
Liam Hartley has somehow fallen back to 8th after getting up to what seemed to be 4th there in the early stages.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is kind of to be expected with what he's done in the last few races and the pace of that Alfa. Marino, however, holding strong in front of the two works cars in front of him. We know he's going to be back into that Ford Focus for next year. Teammate to be confirmed, with Zanardi going off and racing a Honda. Formation flying between the two Fords here, working out who wants to have a go at the privateer in front of them. Salo's on the point, but Palou is looking a bit racy behind, but they've got to be careful because there's a train of cars all behind them that will pounce as soon as they make a mistake.
One of the strangest things this season has been how quiet BMW have been in comparison to last season. Webber just knocking on potential pole for race 2, but teammate Schneider almost nowhere to be seen, even in this rear view camera. Tucked away behind Zhou Sheng's car, no doubt. There we go. Yes, I was spot on.
You were spot on, yes.
Now, decision made from Schneider to go to America, and despite a slight concern that I had, Kubica will be taking that seat. Proof enough that the BMW Academy want things to progress. Europeans export, winning the championship there, has only run the Worlds to allow future development, but it looks as if that seat is his. Wirtz managed to get up to 17th, but Zanardi now putting him back to reality.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting the Renaults to work their way through the traffic as we've seen them do in previous races. I did say it was going to be a bit of a tall order to go through the whole field. I was expecting them to get themselves into the points-paying finishes at least. Now, granted, we're only on lap 4. They might be looking after their tyres, but with the way Dumas just went past him, I have a horrible feeling that's not the case, and they have just thrown in the proverbial towel, and they are preparing for next year, I think.
Preparing for next year once again. All that effort seemed to just go to waste again.
Yes, I suppose the only silver lining they have is the choke, the capitulation, whatever you want to call it, happened later in the season this time and was a smaller bottle than last season.
Absolutely.
So hopefully they can shrink the bottle again and actually run for the championship next season.
Once we were focusing on Schneider there, the American news, the first Super Touring Championship, they wanted this to be a better look. The V8 formula on paper was going to work with an all Super Touring grid for next season. They had to up the ante, and Schneider felt that she's won all that she's needed to win. We've seen that. There's been a number one on her car in the past, and spark a bit more interest in the American Super Touring Championship for next year. Still no change at the front though.
Yeah, still formation flying between these three. On the note of the American Series, though, we will give a quick congratulations to William Gordon and the Chevrolet team for taking the overall honours in the V8 category. That is sadly a bit of a short-lived thing, though I've heard vague rumours that it might come back as its own thing, so we might see an entire grid of nothing but V8 pony cars and higher powered things along those lines. But it was only very vague rumours, so don't get your hopes up just yet. Either way, congrats to William Gordon and Chevrolet. We'll see what they do next season, and we'll see where everyone ends up with the single class Super Touring regulations for next season. Meanwhile, back here at Fuji, everyone's sort of spread out a little bit now towards the front. The two Alphas are nice and close together. They've dropped Ekstrom a little bit. Will they do the switcheroo to help Fisichella then? They've got the space to do it.
Wittmann has got the fastest lap, so you'd think, really would think.
Yeah, we're getting to the halfway point of this race now, so if they're going to do it, it's got to be sooner rather than later.
And an 8-point gap, or an 18-point gap. We're better looking than an 8-point gap if Ingram is still going to be in fourth there. 12 points for fourth, 20 points for third, 30 for the win.
And obviously with 2 points for fastest lap as well. It might not be much on a race-to-race basis, but it all adds up. Well, Jamie Webber in 10th place, so if he stays where he is, he'll have pole for race 2. He's had a very quiet season from the previous champion.
Absolutely surprisingly quiet, even though 2 wins. Schneider hasn't. Surprising lack of form. Other teams have done better, including Renault themselves, including Volvo.
It's been more of a mixed bag this season between the front-wheel drives and the rear-wheel drives. We've seen it in the past where the front, however many spots, have been just BMWs and Alfa Romeos, leaving all the front-wheel drives to essentially be in their own class, almost. A bit more of a mixed bag this year, which is always nice to see. But we do know these BMs and all the rear-wheel drive cars do slightly lack in straight-line speed, which might explain why some of them are struggling here today. The Alphas notwithstanding, of course. But it is nice to see all the privateers mixing it up with the works cars here. Both Tamiya cars in the points, which is a nice send-off for both their drivers. We've talked about Kobayashi, of course, but Felix Rydell moving on to more of a team owner / managerial role within the team. He's not sure if he's going to do any more driving in any other categories as a bit more of a hobby. And they're going to bring in a pair of new drivers, both of which are from the Alpine Intercontinental Cup, which is a one-make series for the A11S. Meanwhile, Salo on Ekstrom, so the Volvos have swapped positions. Ekstrom has
we missed Ekstrom then.
Fallen off pace-wise, and he's now got a trio of angry Fords and a Honda to boot behind him. How much are they going to trip over each other trying to get past him then, I wonder?
So that means it is now a 5-point gap. Ingram is still going to be leading the championship with one single race left. Fisichella might want to get on the telephone to Alpha HQ, or at least his race engineers on the wall, to tell Wittmann, yes, you got your fastest lap points, can you do us a favour? let Fisichella through for the championship.
It would be the smart thing to do, especially now that they've got all the space to do it and not lose any time. I wonder if they'll do it on the last lap. Meanwhile, the battle for fourth place. Ekstrom's pulled away a little bit. I did say the Volvo is good in a straight line. Salo is not letting it go too much, but we know the Volvo is quite weak on its brakes. Salo closes right up in the first hairpin. Can he keep that momentum going?
Moreno still ahead of Palou. Thompson still 8th.
Two rear-wheel drive cars to round out the top 10. Kobayashi doing very well in 11th. Around his home race here.
Felix Rydell not far from that either. One more farewell for the Swede.
Sala now looking very aggressive, feeling up Ekstrom's rear-view mirrors.
Palou might have had a bit of a wake-up call message to Moreno. Both almost equal. Did I see a slight difference in camber then with Moreno?
Potentially, they are running their own setups or with their own race engineers. They don't share data, as far as I'm aware.
Or if they do share it, it's down to the driver's decision at the end of the day, isn't it?
Too wide for these two. Webber wants 9th off of Hartley. Takes that without much of a fanfare.
Still front row for race 2.
Still front row for race 2.
Wittmann and, well, looks like a decent gap now to Fisichella.
Fisichella has dropped off a little bit, whether he's saving his tyres or just ensuring he's in front of Ingram and looking behind him rather than in front of him. Don't know yet. Just wait to see what happens.
It is still Wittmann's fastest lap, and it is still Alfa Volvo. Despite a slight worry from a DHL car and also this Salo-driven Focus.
Follow there. Making his own room on the inside of the hairpin. These two are now having another drag race. Moreno is not letting this go lying down. Palou round the outside takes 6th place off the privateer Ford.
One of Ford's better races then.
Yeah, they've had a bit of an up and down year. They've had some good results and some not so good results. So whatever changes they made to the car have helped in the off season.
Ingram now all over the back of Fisichella.
This is very important for the championship. Ingram going down the outside for the chicane. He's going to try and get a better line and a better exit. Probably try and set Fisichella up through this entire uphill complex and then out-drag him down the start-finish straight. Or has that given Fisichella the biggest wake-up call known to mankind, and will Fisichella now
it already
put on the charge mode and go and take the lead off of his teammate? Because Ingram is there, he is in the podium, and the podium is where the big points are.
Fisichella though was right up close to Ingram's front bumper earlier, just before that new, as of 2005-2006 Tilke style complex. Fisichella though is gone. Now closer to Wittmann. If only it could be a little bit closer, and if it only could break the fastest lap that Wittmann's held since the start of the race. Ekstrom is down to 5th almost. Salo, fellow Scandinavian, almost getting by, and Palou is also wanting a piece of this particular top 6 pie.
Ekstrom has now
below
got
50s.
He's ditched one Ford, he's now got just the 2, but it is the 2 Works Fords. Behind him now. Ekstrom once again on the defensive. And the 2 leaders are now right next to each other once again, so
this is the closest they've been since the start.
And Ingram is not too far behind. They have lost that gap to the rest of the cars. This is going to be an 8-car train if we're not careful. Fisichella down the inside of Whitman. There it is for the move for the lead. Whitman still on the inside, doesn't quite give it up just yet. I don't know if this is smart, guys.
Not the most well orchestrated or well choreographed, despite it looking really good for a side-by-side shot. Fisichella now leads.
Yes, we'll call it that. It was a flair for the dramatic.
15-point gap. Fisichella ahead if all things stay the same before race 2.
Can Ingram get his way past Sabine Whitman and take second place and minimise that points loss? They've got not many laps left now. Webber just hanging on to the back of this lead pack now. So
it's almost like Fisichella had a new mode switched on, and just there we go, finally. Like this thing that's been brewing whole season, where Wittmann has been ahead almost every single race, and every time we thought maybe they should do this now. Maybe they should do this now. We get closer and closer to the final race of the championship. They should do this now, and of course they have. And as far as fastest laps are concerned, Fisichella's fastest is only 1/100th of a second slower than Wittmann's. Was early on, of course.
Yeah, we don't know how much they've used up their tyres, of course. We don't know who's taking care of their tyres and who's scuffed them a little bit. But yeah, it does seem like Fisichella has decided to turn the extra 2 cylinders on that he's got under the bonnet there, using all 6 rather than just the 4.
Trying to work that out then. Surely not a whole 4-cylinder job this entire season. No way.
Salo now
ahead of Ekstrom. I was thinking, once we look there, kind of missed that, but it was obviously braking area of the chicane. Webber still 9th. Kobayashi up to 10th. This will be news. This will be a nice surprise for the locals.
Kobayashi up to 10th. Hartley and Cheng 11th and 12th. So they're where they were. Schneider playing around with the last of the points finishers. I get the feeling that BMW's not behaving too well for her. Lammer's in the last points paying position, so any hope for Renault is really dead and gone. They are 19th and 20th. Fisichella with the new fastest lap, so there's the extra 2 points he needs. Slight sideways moment, that's not going to help you.
Just under 2 to go then. Salo is going to be where Ingram doesn't want him to be.
Yeah, how big of a spanner in the works is Marcus Salo going to be now? I mean, he's got nothing to lose. He just wants a race win. He wants to finish his personal season on a high. He doesn't care for the championship fight going on in front of him.
And as far as this particular season is concerned, this is the highest he's been.
Yeah, he's got a couple of race wins here and there, but again, it's going back to that inconsistency that plagues that Ford team, where they have some good results and then some not so good results.
I stand corrected.
Very track dependent.
He's had some very good podium finishes, and this could be one of them if he decides to play hardball. But there goes Ekstrom. Okay, maybe not.
Ekstrom knows what's up. He needs to be the buffer between Ingram and the rest of the top 10. Salo's not making that easy for him. I think Salo's going to retain the place here, so a valiant effort from the Swede. But the finish wins out.
So it's a 17-point gain for Fisichella then. Well,
this is going to be freight trained and caught on the wrong side of the track because Thompson and Webber, I think they're going to end up past him here.
In all this, you just realise what sort of condition the skies are in. It's not going to affect the final lap, but it could affect race 2.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, there's still the final Japanese Super Touring race to run between this race and race 2 for the World Series. So if it does rain, they will clear the track out a little bit and move the water around.
No, Whitman giving
now looking a bit
Fisichella.
threatening, which I don't think she should be right now. But if she wants a win, she wants a win. Those two have pulled out a gap on Salo now up to third. So Salo has decided to be a big spanner in the works.
But has
taking
Ingram
a wider line. He's going to keep the momentum and try and send it up the inside of the hairpin. That's a good move. Cuts him off a little bit, but
bit
makes
of a wobble
it
on for
stick.
Salo.
Salo now
Ingram
can get
needed
the
that
switch
wake-up
back.
call. Ingram definitely needed that wake-up call, and in fairness, should be closer to the two alphas. He was earlier. I don't know exactly why or how.
And he might have used
And
up
you'll
his
have a
front
reason later.
tyres. It all depends on driving line and stuff. He missed the braking point a little bit there going into the first chicane, but he's managed to retain the position. He's pretty good through here compared to others I've seen. So he should be able to keep the position. It just depends on what kind of exit him and Salo get coming out of the last corner.
Those who thought a distorted picture happened as we saw Ingram. It was these two alphas, lights ablaze, exit of the chicane going up the hill. Fisichella is ablaze. This is the sort of result he wanted, and no more perfectly timed was it for first race glory. He's done for this race what we expected him to do, and Ingram isn't even second. This will be very interesting for the final race of the season. It's between those two. It is definitely not Renault's for the manufacturers championship then either, because Bianchi, with the rain coming down now of all things, had already kind of given up the ghost by the looks of it. Still so far back there. And on slick tyres in the ring, you can understand why they are going a bit slow. There was a shine to the track as well. It was, had that been a lap earlier, that could have been even more mayhem than we would have anticipated.
Yeah, that rain was too little too late to provide any kind of curveball for the race, but that has made the championship fight go down to the wire. So race 2 is going to be very, very interesting.
So if it was
look at the
9
gap
points,
between Ingram and Fisichella. Special shout out to Kobayashi getting 10th place. He's going to have pole for race 2. He's got Marino alongside him, so we'll have an all privateer front row for race 2. That'll be interesting to see.
and a local as well. The Japanese were cheering. I've never seen anyone cheer a 10th place finish so hard as the locals have done today, not even in any of the other weekends. Now, that is now a 8-point gap between Fisichella and Ingram. So it still stands to reason if Ingram wins the race, it's his championship because of the 10-point gap from first to second. But will Fisichella have the fastest lap if he finishes second? So many permutations, and we're going to watch them all unravel when we come back tomorrow. Full weekend in store here, including the Honda Civic one makes as well. On behalf of Michael Swinnerton, then, we cannot wait. Adrian Michael Reese here. We'll see you tomorrow. Good racing.